Chapter 33, You Just Never Know. One blistery cold weekend as we prepared for our neighborhood meal, Tanya felt strongly that she was to use some of the Streetwise funds to buy a couple of pairs of boots to give away. Tanya is like that. She hears God talk to her in a moment, and her generosity doesn't have any filters. She often buys the groceries of the struggling single mom she sees in line in front of her at the grocery store. She doesn't even post about it on her Facebook page like everyone else. She would come home from many meals without her earrings or bracelets because she'd given them away so that a homeless lady could feel special or pretty. Several times she came home from the meals barefoot because she had given away her shoes.
Buying boots now isn't really needed, I told her.
The annual Winterwear Drive, which is sponsored by another agency, is happening in our church in a few weeks. Hundreds of pairs of boots will be given out then. You don't have to buy boots now. Nevertheless, Tanya felt God wanted her to buy boots to give out. To keep it modest, she only bought 2 pair of nice work boots that were on sale for about $30 each. She bought what they had left, a size 12 and a size 13. That Sunday afternoon, Crazy, one of our favorite homeless guys who often comes to church, told us he met a guy on the street who was new to town and only had a pair of flip-flops to wear. All his other stuff had been stolen. Temperatures were already in the low 30s. It hadn't snowed, but it was very cold to be wearing only flip-flops. Crazy brought the guy to our meal and asked Tanya if we could help his new friend find shoes. Smiling, she told him to find me. Crazy introduced us. The fellow was a big guy. I just happened to have a brand new pair of boots to give out to someone today, I informed him, stealing Tanya's credit since she was working in the kitchen. She's rarely wrong on stuff like this. When she says she hears Jesus, she hears Jesus. It looks like this is your lucky day because we haven't had shoes or boots to give out in several weeks. What size are you? He told me he was a size 12 and had trouble finding anything that big. His eyes lit up as I handed him a brand new pair of size 12. He quickly put them on and tried to hide his discouragement when they didn't fit right. With a slump of his shoulders, he took them off and gave them back, saying, "I'm sorry, but they're just too tight for me. Maybe someone else could use them." "Actually, we have the same thing in a size 13, I chirped like an eager Nordstrom's clerk. He put them on, and they were perfect. He must have shaken my hand and thanked me a dozen times before he left that day. I told him that it wasn't me, but Jesus and Tanya who were the ones really taking care of him. We didn't have a meal the next week since it was the first Sunday of the month and we had begun to cut back because funding was getting harder and we were being a bit overloaded. Besides, a few other churches kept crawling down out of the suburbs to serve meals under the freeway a block away, so their work was drastically affecting ours, undercutting our attendance and our food costs. It always bothered me that churches won't pick up a phone to call and see what's going on already. But I know since our building is old and tired-looking, they automatically think we're worthless, incompetent, and stupid, so they must come to the rescue of the poor, forgotten homeless people in our neighborhood. I've tried to talk with most of these groups, but I get blown off a lot. They all insist that Jesus is telling them to do what they're doing. So I guess Jesus isn't very smart at business and efficiency. I guess he's always having his followers duplicate their efforts, waste labor hours unnecessarily, and double food production and costs. I guess Jesus must like over-serving food in a time slot where one local ministry has already existed for years while it struggles to keep paying the upkeep costs, and then have other time slots during the week where no one is serving at all so that the locals go hungry. Maybe Jesus doesn't know humans should eat every day. Some churches seem to think homeless people eat once a month, judging by their outreach work. Other churches know because Jesus must have told them that one good Thanksgiving meal a year is all the poor people need to survive. If I were in charge, I'd have all those suburbanite churches do some homework first and see if there was an existing ministry they could volunteer at and financially support. But in my opinion, Jesus seems to be commanding his followers to do a lot of dumb and unnecessary stuff. I hate second-guessing the Lord God Almighty, but it's apparent Jesus isn't good at logistics and communication. We would prefer closing our Sunday meal and getting a break if 50 people are going to serve a hot meal 1 block away under the freeway every now and then. We would have happily sent our homeless crowd over to them had we known they were coming. Jesus doesn't think of those things, I guess, because he's always telling people just go down and serve more food. We often dump discarded clothes and coats on our dumpsters because Jesus seems to have told the new church that the stuff the other church brought down last week or the one the week before that wasn't good enough. I've often wondered why Jesus has one of those churches come down twice a month to our neighborhood when they have to drive through 3 miles of poverty-filled, broken and ruined neighborhoods all around their church to get to our area. Maybe Jesus doesn't know all those homes between us and them are full of despair and poverty and hunger. I doubt it's because the good church people don't really want those poor folks actually attending their services, although some of the homeless have told me that's what they think. I do notice with one group, whom we never know is coming, the 2 times a year when they put on their big shindig, that the local media always seems to know when they will be there, even if we don't. The newscasters and reporters are usually there in force to report on their good work and increase their donations for the twice-a-year shindig. If I were a cynic, I would suggest that perhaps most of these works aren't motivated by loving the poor. Rather, judging by the church T-shirts and the bus signs, are motivated by marketing pictures for their brochures when showing off their good works to newcomers and visitors whom they want to join their church. If I were a cynic, that is. But I digress from the point of my intent for this story. 2 weeks later, we bumped into Crazy again. "Did you hear what happened after you gave those boots to that guy? He went on a job interview the next day and got the job. The employer took such a shining to him that he found him a place to live, too. He's off the street already, thanks to you guys and all you do. That pair of boots actually changed that man's life." You just never know. We always tried to tell the people who read our newsletters and sent us donations that those funds are used to buy food, blankets, reading glasses, and boots. Homeless guys who come to church felt safe to invite others. Jesus changed lives through the obedience of those who are willing to follow his lead. And even if it didn't seem practical, we all played a role in letting Jesus use us to change a life. I guess this little moment kind of makes me eat my earlier words about all that inefficient church help, which seems poorly managed to me. You just never know how much 1 or 2 small things can really help, even if it's only a couple of times a year. Doing something, I suppose, is often going to go farther and make more of a difference than doing nothing at all, even if I do think we could be a little smarter at our efforts.